Hi everyone. Thanks for joining me. I've been thinking a little bit recently about upcoming new releases because, as I said in the last video, I fired back up NetGalley and I chose a couple titles I chose specifically titles that were coming up pretty soon because it's very hard to talk about a book that's coming up months from now. Case in point, I just finished as an e-arc Liars by Sarah Manguso and then reminded myself it doesn't come out until July. So I reviewed it on NetGalley and I said something about it in my Instagram, but I will remember to say something about my experience of reading that book in June when it's more relevant. But overall, I really like Sarah Manguso. At the beginning of the year, I love looking at what especially smaller indie presses are doing. And so I just have a couple that I'm interested in that I'll be keeping my eye on. But before I get started, I just want to, since I don't sit here a lot, this is my living room and it just has some great light coming in, but I just wanted to comment on one of my absolute favorite prints that is actually, we call this Scrappy Dog, but he is actually called Homer by Jamie Wyeth. I think Jamie is the grandson of one of the Wyeths. We got that when we visited the Wyeth studio and gallery outside of Philly. If you're ever in the area and you're thinking of going, it had at the time another exhibit. That's why we went there. Oh, it was a Van Gogh exhibit. Excellent. Stunning. But just in and of itself, to see all of the Wyeth's work displayed is breathtaking. It's in a beautiful area, a neighborhood outside. It might be Chestnut Hill, outside of Chestnut Hill. Highly recommend. And then the other one is a photograph, a blown up photograph, which I know you can't see, but you might see the indentation in the middle right there. And that's a picture of a ski bowl on top of a ridge. This dome right there is the top of what's called Mount Washington, and that's outside of the town of North Conway, New Hampshire, which is where we'll be going in about a week and a half. And this is backcountry skiing, so people are hiking up or shimmying up with their skis and skins on. They're hiking up Tuckerman's Ravine Trail. And when they get to the very, very top, they are then at the bowl. And then they're going to ski down the bowl, end up at the bottom, and then they truck themselves back up again. No lift, all natural. It's absolutely stunningly beautiful. This is a photo from 1969, and it's got skiers down at the bottom, which you can't see. But it's one of absolutely favorite places of the world that we go to. We either fly into Manchester, New Hampshire, or in this case, we're flying into Portland, Maine, and then driving a little bit to North Conway. And we go ice climbing there and cross-country skiing. Thank you for indulging me to show you those two prints. Okay, so while I was looking at a couple websites, I'm going to look at places like Hen Press. I just read Dear Edna Sloan as an e-arc, which comes out in April, which I will mention again in March, and I loved that. So I just want to mention Hen Press as a website to go to. Coffee House Press, a lot of cool things are happening there. They've got this spring 2024 subscription, which when you pay a certain amount and you get like, oh my gosh, 6 books. But in that collection, there are 2 books that I am interested in that I'll look for at my library when it's time. One of them is Fog and Car, a novel by Eugene Lim. And this comes out, it doesn't come out till July. I'll show you the cover. Isn't that a beautiful cover? Fog and Car by Eugene Lim. Long out of print, Eugene Lim's wry and haunting debut novel returns to shelves with a new introduction by Renee Gladman and a fresh reversible cover. Jim Fogg is marooned in a small Midwest town shortly after his divorce, succumbing to aimless nostalgia. His ex, Sarah Carr, has moved to New York City, hoping to skip right over any mourning period for their marriage. And then a book called Prairie, Dresses, Art, and Other by Danielle Dutton. Look at this cover. These are all just like cover attractions initially for me, obviously. This comes out in April. From the strikingly smart and daringly feminist author of Margaret I and Sprawl comes a prose collection like no other, where different styles of writing and different spaces of experience create a collage of the depths and strangeness of contemporary life. Like, that had me at the word different styles of writing and different spaces of experience. Words, I should say. So this is on a lot of most anticipated books of 2024. And as the blurb said, she's written a few other books. I don't know this author at all, and I will be looking for this one when it comes out. And as you know, I like to make lists on whiteboards, so I will be keeping this list of mine nearby so that I can add it to another small whiteboard that I have. I guess I'm working in semi-reverse order because something that comes out in May. Let me bring it up here. New Directions. I know you guys love and love New Directions. So if you haven't been to the New Directions website lately, to give you an idea of the book I'm going to talk about, this is what their banner looks like right now. It's connected to the book that I'm looking forward to that comes out in May. It's a reprint, a republishing of a book that I think came out in the 90s. Here's the book. That's the cover. Love Junkie. If there ever was a cover buy in the first half of 2024, this has got to be it. And the funny thing is, if you look up this book the way that it was originally printed in the 1990s, I will look it up while we're talking. This pair of red underwear comes into play. The diabolically clever, shamelessly brass-balled, wrenchingly funny story of love, lust, and the agony of romantic disillusion. Love Junkie is a comedy of manners with a time bomb ticking behind the curtain. So this is by Robert Plunket. Adored by the likes of Amy Sedaris, Madonna, who optioned the film rights, and Gordon Lish, Love Junkie is Robert Plunket's cult novel of the heady heyday of gay New York at the dawn of the AIDS epidemic. Scandalously out of print, it is now gloriously reissued for a new generation of readers. So this is about a woman named Mimi Smithers, a modern-day Emma Bovary. She's a 40-ish suburban housewife. She's living in Tehran because her husband works for Union Carbide and he's an executive. They then move back to Westchester and she's throwing these parties, but she's falling into a deep funk. Then it says that her life takes an unexpected turn when she tumbles down into a gay rabbit hole of Manhattan and Fire Island society and meets Joel, a porn star with a chest as smooth as a Ken doll. And this is where underwear comes into play, but I won't read any more about it. Now I'll see if I can find that original cover. This is the original cover. So that has to be Mimi, I think that was her name. And this is Joel, the porn star, in the red underwear. So it's funny because I read somewhere about his other book, and my library has it. And this is a book written in 1983, and man, does it sound like a romp. It's called My Search for Warren Harding. Just as satirical, and it's a bit of a caper. I won't go into the details of that. I will when and if I read it, but it looks like it's going to be good. New Directions republished it, it looks like, in 2023. So cool. I'm really looking forward to discovering a new author. Who knows? Then lastly, the beloved McNally Editions. So what I found there for me, something that comes out this month. This is so right up my alley. Look at that cover. It's called Reminiscences of a Student's Life, a memoir, Jane Ellison Harrison. It's got a new foreword by Danielle Mendelsohn. This book, Reminiscences of a Student's Life, was first published by Virginia and Leonard Woolf in 1925. So I knew right away, like, I have to find this book. These are the irreverent memoirs of a student who declared Victorian education ingeniously useless, who blazed a trail for female scholars, and who changed the way we see the ancient world. So it goes on to explain that she is non-standard, non-conforming within the 1920s society in so many ways. Virginia Woolf said, "Her intellectual power seems to me not only sensible, but immense, and the effects of education and liberty scarcely to be overrated." Jane Ellison Harrison lived from 1850 to 1928. It says she was a popular lecturer whose articles enjoyed a wide readership. Harrison retired from teaching in 1922 and spent her last years in Paris with her spiritual daughter, the poet Hope Mirrlees. I'm captivated. That's all. I just wanted to share with you the rabbit hole of all of the indie presses that I went down. It's so much fun this time of year to do that. I tend to do this more so in the beginning of the year than any other time, but the Mooks and the Grapes podcast will have me looking at new releases starting in May or June for the rest of the year, because they do these wonderful podcasts about the new releases that they're looking to, and it always reminds me to look at the presses myself. Thanks for joining me. I'd love to know if any of these books are on your horizon, and if you've heard of any of these authors, and if you've read anything else, especially Robert Plunket. Please let me know if you've read the other Robert Plunket, or even the one that's being republished. I'd love to hear about that. And please share what you're looking forward to, and I'll see you on the next one.